was, we went to Santorini, in and out of there in seconds, went to Rhodes to get a taxi. There were women taxi drivers. We finally hailed one down, took us to a beach. Everyone was topless. Everyone there was probably from there. Ever since travel went mainstream, there are a lot of people out there that are going to places and like posting these gorgeous drone shots or showing the beautiful bougainvillea on a white village or all of Santorini that's whitewashed. It's called the travel aesthetic. And some people are complaining that now it is ruining their vacation because you look at Instagram and you book a vacation and you're like, I'm going to go to Tuscany. Why is this picture not happening in my real life vacation? So we want to talk a little bit about the travel aesthetic. And has it ever sort of thrown you off? Is it the sort of thing that you expect to see and you don't? Rajbinder, you travel a lot with your family.
So I used to be, well, I started off as a travel blogger. So I'm going to tell you, I know that this is all
It's your fault.
Well, I kind of stopped doing it that way, and it actually was never that good. Okay. So, you know. Plus, I travel with kids, and they're going to keep it real.
Yes.
So the whole idea of the travel aesthetic, sure, you want to go to this place because it looks lovely.
Yeah.
But we go in with this this perception that when we go there, it's going to look like that. We're doing it for the gram. We're not doing it for our real life.
Right.
We are missing out on so much. There are experiences. So, you know, we did a huge family trip. We did an East African safari. And yes, my husband wanted, it was his first birthday, wanted to see the Great Migration, this whole thing. In the Serengeti, well, the animals already left and everything was dry.
Right.
So if that was where we stayed, it would have been very disappointing. Because you're not seeing, what is that show from a long time ago that I used to watch? All the animals. But when you go to the Masai Mara in Kenya, it was this whole other experience of seeing the animals, but then also the food, the people, culture, things that nobody else talks about when I was planning the safari. And it was like, now I want to go back because I need to understand more about that part of the world, that region, from the food, the language, the people, the culture. So much more that cannot be captured in a photo.
So what do you think, what's your advice to people that want to go and see 50 zebras running across and it's not happening?
There are so many other things that will happen.
Yes.
Allow those experiences to come to you. Truly, there are like some of my greatest travel moments, usually with my family and my kids, are in the moments that are unplanned. And in the bites of food that we had that were like, oh my goodness, this is not what I expected here. A sunset that was a random on the, you know, at the end of the beach when we still haven't gone into our dinner clothes, for example. Nothing that is ever curated will live up to that hype. I've been doing this for a long time. It just doesn't. It's just go in with open eyes, big heart, and allow these cultures and countries and the world to show you something you're never going to see anywhere else.
Keisha, how about you? Have you done some travel and been disappointed at all?
So kind of opposite of Raj. I haven't traveled that much outside of North America, but there are definitely places that I thought would be a lot different stereotypically. For example, LA.
Yes.
So my perception of LA is like Clueless, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, I'm expecting palm trees and stuff, and I know that places like in areas like Skid Row exist. But to go and be on Sunset Boulevard and see the depravity and you know, almost the humanity, and just seeing that dichotomy between like high fashion Melrose and then just down the street, it's just very, you know, poverty stricken, not necessarily poverty, but a lot of homelessness. Just to see that difference, it's much different than, again, your perception going into it.
And what does that teach you?
Teaches me not to rely on social media or, you know, the TV shows and, you know, the shows like Kardashians and stuff like that that give us that romanticized version of these places when it's totally different in reality.
This is the issue. I think a lot of people, you cannot see nuance. I think we need to stop this idea that social media is ever going to be able to give you nuance because it is the most reductive of all the platforms. It is more reductive than radio, it's more reductive than television, it's way more reductive than anything in print. It can literally show you a one-dimensional version of anything.
Absolutely.
Britt, what's been your sort of experience with the travel aesthetic? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Has it not affected you at all?
I'm starting to really hate it.
Yeah.
And I have 2 little ones too, and I just feel like everyone's living through their phones, and it's way too much pressure. Yeah. I think we need to scale it all back. I also don't love the fact that you're looking for that aesthetic, and then you also have to look great, and your clothes have to be perfect, and your makeup has to be great. Like, it's just too much. And it's funny because recently I had a bride that was getting married in Crete, Greece, and Crete is stunning, but it's not aesthetic, right? Like, it's real Greece. And if you talk to people that are Greek, they're like, that is Greece.
Yes.
And then I went to Santorini, and that's aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
But it's like one little dome and there's no flowers anywhere. Like, I was like, what is happening here? But the thing is that, like, I hated it there, and that's going to be so controversial.
No.
I loved Crete.
Yeah.
Because it was like, there was like a grandmother making you food in a mountain, and there was no one there, and no one cared to take a picture.
Right.
It was fantastic.
My favorite moment in Greece was we went to Santorini, in and out of there in seconds.
Yes.
Went to Rhodes to get a taxi. There were women taxi drivers. We finally hailed one down, took us to a beach. Everyone was topless. Everyone there was probably from there.
Yes.
And it was like this little bay area. I have not one photograph of any of it. And it was the experience I always remember from Greece.
Yeah.
So there's a lesson here. When you travel, it's like you have to travel with an open mind. Don't travel expecting to see this picture and go to that place and get that picture in your long flowing dress. Go and experience a new culture.
And it's way beyond the photo.
It's
and
way
who's
beyond.
coming up with these aesthetics? Let's think about that for a
Well,
second.
it's all of us. I think I'm part of the problem. While I say I don't believe in it, I do believe I'm part of the problem. But I'm also not shooting anything I'm not experiencing. And I'm also not necessarily dressing up to be a part of it. But what I would love is for people to see the photos and understand that there's a whole world out there. But go and experience it for you. Not what I did. Do what you want to do. Thanks so much for joining the chat, ladies.